So, you're building a guitar, but how'd you get this into this? Well, you've come to the right place. Maybe. So you bought yourself a lovely fretboard blank, or you might be doing a one-piece neck, whatever your deal is. What are the various ways of getting your fret wire into your fretboard? In my experience, there are lots of ways actually. Some more time consuming than others, and others that are just shit and I've never bothered with. Shit. If you're doing one guitar, if you're making your first guitar, there's lots of tools you need to buy, loads that you don't realise that you need until you need them, and then waiting for delivery, all that shit. You might have already been there. One thing that you don't have to do, and it's not cheating, if it's your first guitar, if you're only ever going to build one or two, buy a fretboard that's already slotted.
Without a doubt.
You can buy it to any scale length, loads of people do them, it's already cut, save yourself a ball ache. Fret slots have to be perfect, immaculate. And I don't just mean cut nicely, I mean spaced perfectly, otherwise you'll spend 20 to 60 to 100 hours on your guitar and it'll be a piece of shit.
Fuck that.
Because it doesn't play in tune, waste of time. So if you're only doing one, my recommendation is turn this video off and buy yourself a pre-slotted fretboard. It's not cheating. There's lots of other things you've got to master on the way. Option two, right? Option two, the one I don't like. A lot of people will download the measurements and laboriously from the nut, they will measure each one and they will mark them, and then they will get themselves a fret slotting saw, which are lovely, exact kerf for fret wire. It's a back cutting saw, and they will laboriously cut this very gingerly and cut their line. There's lots of room for error, but a steady hand and a good craftsman can do that. Of course he can. But it's not what I was ever going to entertain. I've been a carpenter for far too long, and if I can find an easier way, or if I can buy a sexy tool, because let's be honest, tools are like porn. If I can find a sexy tool, I'll buy a sexy tool. So the route I went down, because I bought a lot of gear from Crimson Guitars, because that's where I learnt. I bought their fret slotting jig. It's a lot of money. It was a couple £100. These are amazing. You have to buy your respective ruler, all right, and it comes in all different scales. You can buy all different ones. These are about 60, 70 quid each as well. You stick your fretboard to that one, that's simple. Inside this jig is a little tiny pin that you might be able to see. So in goes that pin. Let's come over on Carsit Cam. Oh, he's a wide boy. So as your ruler's in there, you can see that he just moves and it locates in a pin every time. That coupled with your saw being in there. That's enough of that shit, Paul. You're getting a bit carried away, boy. So couple that with the fact that the top of this saw, you can set the depth with these. It's a wonderful bit of kit. Your wood's glued on there, you cut your slots. It's all perfect. That is great. If you're gonna buy a tool, previously, that's what I would have recommended. Not so much now. It takes a while, and if you're gonna be like me, I got hooked and I ended up just scratching my knee.
What?
I got hooked and I ended up making loads of guitars, and this process used to piss me off because some fretboards, some hard maples and stuff, they take a while, all right? They're a ball ache. These are not particularly efficient saws. There's no flare out of the teeth. It's a slow process. Good for the sole, not so good for the forearm. So what do I do after that? Incidentally, if you just want to buy that ruler and you've got a bit of a noggin about you and you're not an idiot, you can make that out of a bit of shit, which is what I've done there to demonstrate for you. Offcut of oak, a nail in there, and you can see that you can achieve exactly the same process. It's a bit more laborious because you have to figure things out and you have to know how deep you want to cut things. So you have to make the sides of these the correct height and all the rest of it. But that costs nothing. That saw, you can pick these up for 20 to 30 quid. They're a good investment. You need one of these. Buy one of them. Doesn't matter what technique you use, you need one of these. And they do come with the option of setting a depth on them. So that's what you absolutely need if you're cutting your own fret slots. So you can make your own, that's simple. That's a really simple way of doing it. All right, I never actually did it that way because I'm a tool junkie, and I just bought the sexy tool, which I don't use anymore, it's an ornament. What I do now is a bit different, and it's my favorite way, and really it's the way I recommend because it's cheap, really. Let's go over to the saw. Now this is Jigus Maximus, the easiest jig you'll ever see in your life. And it basically does something very similar. I actually cut my fret slots when the fretboard's glued to the neck. You don't have to do that. Here we've got our scale ruler, we've got our notches, we've got a little pin in Jigus Maximus, so we can't go anywhere, and he's just going to keep cutting our slots. So as long as your fretboard is glued in the right spot and he's nice and square, you are going to be able to whiz through and cut a slot. Should we cut a slot? Do you want to see one? It's hell of exciting. So just as a demonstration, although this would normally be glued and all the rest of it, just as a demonstration, you can see there. Oh, how easy is that? Watch any of my videos and you'll see that that's how we do it. And this blade, although there's nothing written on it anymore, is actually a fret slotting blade. It's from Radius Dish UK. I'm pretty sure Stu Mac do them as well if you live on the other side of the ponds. I get this one because it fits into a British chop saw. It's your standard chop saw blade, 30mm. Radius Dish UK, I will link it. I'm not sponsored, but that is a phenomenal bit of kit. I think it was £55. Let's go back over, shall we? So for posterity, Jigus Maximus, got to give him a Latin name. Don't know why, just what we do around here. We're a little bit weird. Jigus Maximus has got a little pin in the side there. Get yourself your little fret ruler and he notches in. You can't go wrong. Do it with a decent quality chop saw. Chop saws are still not perfect. There's a little bit of movement. The thing that makes chop saws not so perfect is there's still a little bit of movement in them. They're not perfect. It's not a radio arm saw. But if you're being very careful and gentle, ease her in. It might be her first time.
You are creepy as shit.
If you're being gentle, it's a great tool. You cut your fret slots in about 30 seconds. The blade's 55 quid. One of these is 55 quid, £110. You can cut fret slots for years. That is my recommendation. But you can go through any one of these techniques. I just don't recommend measuring them. Just buy yourself a pre-slotted fretboard. Well, that was the shortest video in the world. So there you go. That's how we make Jigus Maximus. Thanks for watching, everyone. Why don't you go back and watch one of my full build series, because I get viewers and views, and then we can make a bit of a success of this workshop. Because at the minute, still a bit poor. But there you go. Thanks for watching, everyone. Come back next time. That was a very, very short video. Even you TikTok dickheads can get to the end of a video that long. Oh, attention span, 30 seconds, got to swipe.